Okay, we're gonna make yellow rice tonight. So I'm gonna make rice on the stove, just kind of the normal traditional way. We have a rice cooker. I never in a million years thought I would need a rice cooker, but the rice cooker is really awesome. I love the rice cooker. It cooks rice perfectly. You put it in there, you fill the water up, you just turn it on and leave it alone, and 40 minutes later, whatever, it's done and it's perfect and it holds beautifully. So anyway, if you don't have a rice cooker, this is how you cook rice. You use twice as much water as you use rice. For the basmati rice, you first rinse it under cold water. So the idea is to rinse it until the water coming out the bottom is clear. If you have a little sprayer, you can spray it, that's good. But you'll see that as you rinse it a little bit, it starts to get it'll change a bit in color. It gets a little bit translucent. And the water is generally going from a little cloudy to pretty much clear. You see that? I'm using a really fine sieve, so I'm not losing the rice in the sieve. And into my little pot it goes. And I'm actually going to measure for you. I usually do it by eye, but I'm going to put two cups of water. And sometimes it takes a bit more than that, which is okay. But generally speaking, if you use a cup of rice, use 2 cups of water. We're going to also salt the water over at the stove. Okay, rice is on the stove. I'm going to salt it with about, I don't know, about 2 teaspoons of salt. And then I'm going to cover it. Now here's the thing with cooking rice on the stove. You're going to cover it, the water's going to boil, and it's going to boil over, and the starchy, ricey water is going to boil over onto the stove and make a mess, and then you're going to lose a bunch of the water. So what you want to do is start it on high, but you want to pay attention to it and keep close to it, so that way as it starts to boil, you can watch it to see it, and before it boils over, you can turn the stove down, because you want it on a very, very low simmer, and you're basically going to cook it until all the water is evaporated. Okay, so I'm not going to make you stand here and watch the pot waiting to boil, but when it does get boiling, I'll show you it a little bit, and then we'll put it on the back burner. Let's look at our rice here, okay? So look, it's boiling there, and I just turned it down, and what you'll see is that it will, if you have the heat too high, it will really boil up and boil over, so you want to keep a close eye on that. And you're basically going to cook it. It's going to take about 25 minutes or so, and all the water will evaporate, so you need to keep a close eye on it, because if all the water is gone and cooked out, then it's just going to cook and burn to the bottom. Okay? Okay, let's take a little look at our rice here. Well, you can see that. But it's perfect right now, okay? So you can see that all the liquid is gone off of it, and it's cooked perfectly, and it will hold a little bit. It's not going to hold for too long, or it's going to start getting all sticky. But that's in pretty good shape. So now I'm going to get our vegetables finished up here, and then we'll combine them, okay? Okay, time to get moving on here on the other parts for our rice. I'm going to use a shallot tonight. I love shallots. Shallots cause some people stomach issues, but they're delicious. You could use just a regular onion in here, no problem at all. You know, or if your onions are big, then just use a half an onion. You peel the shallot the same way that you do the onions, cut it in half so you're keeping part of your root end, and you start. I want this pretty fine, so I'm cutting quite a few slices. Okay, the careful part going back toward the root. I'm going to do 2, and then pretty finely diced. There's my little shallot. Okay, there's the first half. Let's do the second half. Again, toward the root, don't go all the way through. Your slices on your lines, it's all holding together. Go toward the root. Make sure that you let your knife do it and keep your wrist up and out of the way. There you go. Okay, you're all set. Now, the other part that we want is a bit of garlic. And like normal, I like to start my shallot or my onion first. Like I've shown you, you can take the part that is green and growing out of the middle. That goes in the garbage. I do it the same way for a little dice. It makes it quick and easy. But bear in mind that this is going to go into rice, right? So we do want it pretty small. You don't want chunks of much going in there, because then that's going to give you a strange kind of feeling in your mouth. Okay, so now we got these guys ready. All right, for the rice, get your pan hot, a bit of olive oil. I've got about 2 tablespoons there. Here comes my shallot or my onion. And I'm going to wait on the garlic, okay? You can see my pan's not that even, because all the oil's going down to one side. Oh man, that smells so good. Now, what I like to do with this, I get it started pretty high, but then I'm going to brown these. So for this rice, I like to really to brown the onions or the shallots, and it just gives it this sort of roasted flavor that is just really, really delicious. Okay, so I've turned this down now, and I've got to keep a close eye on it because I don't want to burn them, but I let them sit and let them burn or brown nicely in the olive oil. Okay, you can see that the onions or the shallots are pretty brown there. In goes my garlic. Ooh yeah, it's gonna be tasty. Now you got to get it in there early enough that it's not gonna cook and burn the, I'm going to add a little bit more oil here. You don't want to burn the shallots for sure, right? Fine line between the burnt shallots and the tasty, delicious shallots. So I'm going to keep stirring. I've got the heat on pretty low. So I'll show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add turmeric powder. You can get this in a good spice market. You can get it in a grocery store. You don't want to buy too much of it because it doesn't keep that well. When my garlic is sauteed nicely, I'm going to add turmeric, and I'm going to put a decent amount here. I've got about 2 tablespoons there. You would not believe how good that smells. And now I'm going to keep stirring a bit. I'm basically cooking the turmeric here. And now I'm going to add my rice. I've actually turned my heat off. You can see the nicely browned shallots in there. You see how the rice quickly turns yellow. Alrighty, that's going to be tasty. We're going to have to taste it for seasoning. Now look, you can make this spicy. You can add cayenne for sure. You can add, I keep mentioning you can add sriracha. You actually could add sriracha. I may have to try that. The other thing I'm going to add here, because I like it, I'm going to add a cup of frozen peas that I've just thawed out a bit under hot water. And I'm going to add two scallions. Alright, look at that. And there, you've got some turmeric rice. Let's taste it. It's delicious. It does not need salt, but I am going to add some cayenne or some sriracha to it, and we'll do that right before we serve it. All right. So I want to show you the final product here on a plate in case you didn't watch the other video. But here's your rice that you can serve as a side dish, or you can serve right along with your main course. And you see that's been sitting on the stove while I've been working on other things, but is in great shape. It's steaming hot. I keep it warm, and there you are.